There's a lot to digest and a lot of voices to be heard. Stick to the frequency that amplifies these voices, stories and reports that make the difference. This is AKINBODE News, 88.7 FM.
This is Kunle Amzat Studio, AKINBODE 88.7 FM. Welcome to News Around the World.
Good evening, welcome to the news around the world on the most listened to radio station, AKINBODE 88.7 FM, Ibadan. I am BOWALE AKINBODE. First, the headlines. Health Minister says federal government vaccinates millions of Nigeria against measles, yellow fever. Falana wants federal government not to allow Trump promote religious war in Nigeria over insecurity. Murder among two prisoners at large after absconding on New Year's Day. North Korea fires ballistic missiles, condemns U.S. strikes on Venezuela. Super Eagles in ferocious charge for 18th AFCON quarter-final berth. Now the details. The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Pate, says the federal government has administered over 25 million doses of measles vaccine and 22 million yellow fever vaccinations nationwide. Professor Pate disclosed this today in a broadcast on his official X handle, highlighting significant gains recorded in immunization coverage and preventive healthcare delivery across the country. According to the minister, Nigeria is increasingly being defined not only by its disease burden, but also by leadership in domestic resource mobilization and global disease control efforts, stressing that in 2025 the federal government committed $54 million in domestic resources to the global fight against tuberculosis and emerged as the largest African contributor to the Global Fund, as announced as the most recent G20 summit in Johannesburg. The health minister noted that sustained increases in health sector financing across all levels of government, covering primary healthcare infrastructure, workforce development and vaccination campaigns, had reinforced global confidence in Nigeria as a provider of health solutions. Professor Pate further said the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu extended beyond economic reform and infrastructure investment and was anchored on the development of the Nigerian person. A human rights lawyer, Barrister Femi Falana SAN, said that members of the Nigerian Armed Forces, if properly funded and motivated, are capable of winning the war against terrorism and banditry in the country without foreign intervention. Barrister Falana, who spoke in a chat with journalists in Ilawe, Ekiti hometown, bemoaned how some known figures in the country stole funds meant for the purchase of arms and ammunition, while calling on the federal government not to let United States President Donald Trump to promote religious war in Nigeria. The senior advocate, who expressed regret that terrorists as seen in the videos appeared better equipped than members of the country's armed forces, charged the federal government to adequately equip the military for victory in the war. Barrister Falana further urged the federal government to put in place of mechanism for the recovery of such funds and ensure they are used for their original purpose. The get-together with the chairman and managing director held today was a memorable and lively occasion. Staffs and guests came together in a warm and friendly atmosphere, enjoying good food, music and meaningful conversations. The event was filled with laughter and excitement as people danced freely, relaxed and took part in the celebrations with great enthusiasm. Everyone truly enjoyed themselves, sharing joy and happiness throughout the gathering. It was a wonderful opportunity for all present to celebrate together, express their appreciation and strengthen bonds. The cheerful and togetherness made the occasion special, leaving lasting memories for everyone who attended. The cheerful and togetherness made the occasion special, leaving lasting memories for everyone who attended the event. And now it is time to link up with our United Kingdom studio for the foreign news.
From Pulamza Studio at Gidigbo FM, United Kingdom, I am Olushola Damilola. Two prisoners are being hunted by police after absconding from jail on New Year's Day. Avon and Somerset police are searching for Matthew Armstrong and Daniel Washburn, who both have history of violent offences, with Armstrong convicted of murder, although the third prisoner suspected of having absconded at the same time has been arrested in Bristol. Police have warned anyone who may spot the prisoner to stay away from them and call 999. Armstrong, 35, was convicted in late 2000 of a murder that occurred during a robbery in Warwickshire, while Washburn, 40, has previous conviction for violence. Police officials said they were informed about the absconders on Thursday evening as they fled. The force has shared the CCTV footage of what the prisoner wore on the day they escaped as it appealed to the public for information. United States of American spies had been monitoring Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro's movement for months. According to U.S. top military officials, a small team, including one source within the Venezuela government, had been monitoring where the 63-year-old slept, what he ate, wore, even his pets, and what followed was a 2-hour and 20-minute mission by air, land, and sea that stunned many in Washington and around the world. Although launching military action without congressional authorization has prompted anger from some in the U.S. Congress. However, President Trump has announced that Maduro and his wife will soon face the full might of American justice. And that ends the news. From Pulamza Studio at Gidigbo FM, United Kingdom, I am Olushola Damilola.
We shall also be moving to our Maryland studio, United States, for more foreign news.
News from Kule Amzat Studio at Gidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosi Soya. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro was indicted by a federal grand jury on charges stemming from what prosecutors said was his role in a scheme to import thousands of tons of cocaine into the United States and enrich himself, his family, and senior members of the Venezuelan government. The indictment was unsealed by Attorney General Pam Bondi after Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, were taken into military custody in an overnight operation and brought to the U.S. to face criminal charges. Maduro, Flores, and 4 others are named as defendants in the indictment, including Maduro's son, Ernesto Maduro, Venezuela's Interior Minister, Diosdado Cabello, its former Interior Minister, Ramon Rodriguez Chancin, and leader of the gang, Tren de Aragua, Hector Rosenford Guerrero Flores. Maduro and Flores could appear in court in Manhattan as early as Monday. The case against them was brought into the Southern District of New York, where Maduro and 14 others were first indicted in March 2020 during the first Trump administration. U.S. District Judge Alvin Elliston is overseeing the case. North Korea launched ballistic missiles on Sunday, the day the leader of the rival South Korea starts a state visit to China, Pyongyang's chief ally, and just hours after U.S. attacked Venezuela. The firing of at least 2 missiles, the country's first in 2 months, further heightened global tension after U.S. President Donald Trump launched an assault in Venezuela in which President Nicolas Maduro was captured. North Korea strongly denounced the U.S. action, saying Washington widely violated the sovereignty of Venezuela and the act shows the rogue and brutal nature of the U.S. The North launched its missiles hours before South Korean President Lee Jae-yong began a state visit to China on Sunday in the hope of promoting peace on the Korean Peninsula. Launches from the capital, Pyongyang, into the sea between the Koreas and Japan represent a message to China to deter closer ties with South Korea and to counter China's stance on denuclearization. And that ends the news from Kule Amzat Studio at Gidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosin Sonya.
Welcome back now to the exciting world of sport. Nigeria are confident of reaching the quarterfinals of the Africa Cup of Nations for the 18th time when they engage Mozambique in Monday's night round of 16 tie at the Complex Sportif de Fes. The Super Eagles have the record of most medals in the 69-year-old flagship football tournament of the African continent. These 3 triumphs, gold medals, 5 runner-up positions, silver medals, and 8 bronze acquisitions. Monday's encounter against history-making Mambas promises a thrilling contest with coaches Eric Chell and Chinkonko Konde preferring to keep tactics, strategies and patterns to their chest. However, against third-place Mozambique, the 3-time champions must be extra cautious, as a similar third-placed Tunisia bumped them on the same stage in Gurau 4 years ago. The Confederation of African Football has selected Cameroonian official Abdou Abdel as referee for Monday night's encounter. To wrap up the news this evening, here is a recap of the headlines. Health Minister says federal government vaccinates millions of Nigerians against measles, yellow fever. Falana wants federal government not to allow Trump promote religious war in Nigeria over insecurity. Murder among 2 prisoners at large after absconding on New Year's Day. North Korea fires ballistic missiles, condemns U.S. strikes on Venezuela. Super Eagles in ferocious charge for 18th AFCON quarter-final berth.
Don't forget that you can listen to us live on our website www.agidigbo887fm.com. You can also download our mobile app on the Google Play Store and iOS. Simply search for Agidigbo 88.7 FM. Follow us on Facebook at Agidigbo 88.7 FM, on Twitter and Instagram at Agidigbo 887 FM, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have news stories and tips for us, contact our newsroom on 070-8714-4865 or send us a mail on newsroom@agidigbo887fm.com.
Welcome back, and before we go this evening, here is a quick tip. Where there is harmony, there is peace. Harmony and balance are the keys to inner peace. Where there is love, there is harmony. Finally, we have come to the end of the news around the world on the most listened to radio station, Agidigbo 88.7 FM Ibadan. I am BOWALE AKINBODE. Thank you for listening. Good evening.